Hello, my Gemini collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs in twin flame relationships. Welcome to your September 2019 twin flame reading. I am your reader, Angelo, Lyons, Mal for short. I'm actually wearing a somewhat Gemini t-shirt for you all. It is a magical book of wisdom flipping its own pages because probably magic or the wind. You know, I wear different t-shirts so that I can see in the thumbnails which one it is. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember I wore that. For that. The decks are blessed. I actually had two false starts doing this one. The first one, my cat Sebastian all of a sudden started to play with a ribbon on my altar. I was like, what now? Right? It's literally, it's almost 1 a.m. here. What is it, on the 28th of August now? And then the second time I tried to do it again, and like I said, path of true love. So I was like, okay, we're dealing with a Gemini vibe here. So I stopped, I said a prayer, I tuned into the collective, and then I felt, because I was up here and I felt that, oh, right, this is twin flames we're talking about here. So if you have not yet, please go watch the clarifying twin flames, soulmates, and true lovers video that I did. It's in the links in the description box below, along with all of the decks that I'm using for this reading. And the reason why I suggest doing it is because the definitions that I am using are kind of new, even though we've been using that term twin flame for so long, right? I mean, really long time. Like if you do the research, twin flame goes back, really, I think, is it back to the theosophical writings? But, you know, there's that concept has been distorted and conflated with soulmate and true love and all this stuff, where soulmates are relationships, pre-incarnational contracts written before you come in, signed by you before you come in, that these relationships are turbulent, transformative, fire, element of fire, the element of transformation as a witch. That makes total sense. And that you are these relationships teach you how to love yourself, how to heal yourself, because by contract, your twin flame in any relationship structure, not just sexual, romantic, cannot give you what you need. You must give it to yourself. And that's the point of it. It doesn't mean that you have to banish them from your lives. They're necessary parts of the path of true love, and the spiritual path just is. So we're doing these readings a little bit different than I did for August. That'll probably change every time I do it, because the guides, masters, teachers, all of them, the angels are constantly evolving me and pushing me forward, because that's my prayer, that I do it the best that I can do it, that it be the best reading I've ever done, not the best I will ever do. That's my learning curve. So I'm ready to do this. We're going to dive in. The first line of information will be for the Gemini collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign watching this. Cross watchers, don't worry, you get a second line. Now, I do realize, particularly with Geminis, this might be the case, that you might share like signs with each other, right? So you can be a Gemini cross watcher, so that's tricky. So for any of the signs that may be doing that and experiencing that, just kind of, it's so cliche at this point, but take what resonates. You might have to like feel like, no, that's not me, that's them. That's it. Well, no, that's me. And it might kind of boing back and forth. I've noticed that because I've certainly been in relationships with other Virgos. I know it sounds crazy, but they're actually kind of wonderful. Twin flame, soulmate, what have you. So let's dive in. We're going to get an archetype card for you. What is the soul pattern, the piece of the contract that's being developed here? Your part of it, if you like, where you're coming from, at least at this point for September 2019. So my pantheon of angels, gods, and masters, please, what is the archetype for the Gemini collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs? What is the archetype that they are developing in this twin flame relationship? Ooh, the athlete. You know, not immediately what you think in terms of the athlete, although if you're athletic, sure, great, but the archetype, it is part of the action family, which absolutely makes sense. But at the same time, there are many different forms of athleticism. For example, mental athleticism, athletic artistry, right? Like dance, right? Like I'm a dancer. I was trained. It's athletic, right? So it has other forms than we immediately think. So I'll clarify that when I get them all out. The angels, please, one card. A card of guidance and grace for the Gemini collective here in this twin flame relationship. Please clarify with this for this athlete archetype Gemini. For September 2019, answered prayer. Okay, really good, which means if you haven't said the prayer yet, get to it. But you know what? In twin flame relationships, every prayer is heard and every prayer is answered. No, every prayer is always heard and every prayer is answered. But how do we receive the answer, right? And sometimes the prayer is, oh my good God, give me strength. Help me, help me, help me, help me, right? So let's add to it. I was told very clearly moving forward now that with the 12 signs of the zodiac, I'm to go with the god or goddess sitting in that throne as the dominant channel, whatever you want to call it, source. I guess I'm the channel, the cards of the channel of the guidance and grace. So we're going to do that. So that's why if you're like, where's all the jewelry? Well, Hermes has my ear because Hermes sits in the throne of Gemini for me. They may change that again. I just do as I'm told. I'm a good servant. I am. I'm a good Virgo to my gods. They love me and I love them. So Hermes, please. He's right there. That's his statue right there. And he's wearing a lovely amethyst, tumbled amethyst beaded necklace. Just gorge. Hermes, please then. Can you please give us one card for the Gemini collective here in this twin flame relationship, this athlete, with this answered prayer, please. A card of your guidance and grace for them. Here it is. Oh, meditation. Great. Makes sense. Air signs meditate. Now, it's not all about the mind, but this is the 7 of blades. I know, different from what you're seeing in other decks. That's why I love the Daughters of the Moon Tarot and Fiona Morgan. We'll get there. We'll get there. Because, you know, one card can have 10,000 different meanings depending on where you look in the card, where your eye is drawn. So I want to get all of the pieces of the puzzle on the table for this first line. And then we have 3 decks I'm going to clarify with. But really, these will be 24 cards. These spreads are 24 cards in total, unless something really jumps out or I'm guided otherwise to add more. My masters, please, one card of your guidance and grace for the Gemini collective. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs in this twin flame relationship for September 2019. Please, a card of guidance and grace for the Geminis. Naivete. Oh, a Gemini? I tease the crap out of Geminis. Well, at least the Gemini suns. The Gemini moons and risings. Different category, right? Whoops. And right, I almost pulled one of the clarifiers because that's the order I have them in here. But then I go to the very end with the Whispers of Love. Oh, I love this deck so much. I love this deck so much. I love the Whispers of Love. Go check the link down there. I can't. There is the author and the artist, and I'm having trouble remembering their names because I suck at names to begin with. I know I have no planets in Gemini, but I have Mercury and Venus conjunct in Libra, 3rd house. Great fun. Chatterbox, get on. My pantheon of angels, gods, and masters, please. There you are. A whisper of love for the Gemini collective, Sun, Moon, Rising signs in this twin flame relationship. And I can feel it's like real second chakra reaching up into the solar plexus. I can feel something's going on here, please. Your collective angelic, godly, and masterful grace, a whisper of love for the Geminis. Take the top one. Act as if your partner is here. Now, that's a very interesting thing. There are so many different ways to take that, right? Act as if your partner is here. I'll certainly read what's on the card, but I've got Gemini, 2 different takes on that. So the one will be that's written on the card. Act as if your partner is here. Whether you have someone in your life or not, act as if they are with you, so you will always consider them. All right, so I get what that means. That's saying, like, if you're worried about your conduct, if you're going to a party, someone's hitting on you, you know what I mean? It's like act as if your partner is there. That makes total sense, right? It's a good way, because you're well, let's forget about the upper chakras for a hot sec when the lower chakras are like hungry. Feed me. You know, act as if your partner is there with you. But I also get the feeling that if you are in separation from the twin flame here, because the twin flame dance absolutely is together and apart and together and apart and together and apart, because it's the beating of the twin flame heart, which also sort of rhymes, thank you, Hermes. So the other part of that is like, particularly because you got this card of meditation, act as if, choose thoughts as if, but also contemplate, meditate. And if there's telepathic stuff going on there, talk to them as if they were sitting right in front of you, because if there's no communication between the two of you, as so often happens in twin flame relationships, because just what makes you feel, what triggers you more than someone ghosting you and cutting off communication? What's going to trigger more of that feeling unwanted and that feeling, what's wrong with me and what am I doing wrong, which is necessary in a twin flame relationship, so that stuff can be brought up and healed. And you know what, if you've got the athlete here, I'm going to read this card, then certainly I think you'll like this take on it. Light attribute. Dedication to transcending physical limits, including handicaps, right? So someone can make an athletic progression once they have, you know, in their process of recovery, and then what they do with their life. Like, I've always said that Christopher Reeve was really Superman after the accident. And if you don't know that story, Christopher Reeve was my first real Superman. I was so in love with him. I still am in love with Superman to this day. That's why I guess, you know. Let me move on. Yeah, I'm not wearing a Wonder Woman shirt for once. Okay. So the next part of the light attribute here, development of personal willpower and strength of spirit. So yes, that definitely speaks to this, act as if your partner is with you. The shadow attribute, misuse of athletic ability for selfish ends, false sense of invulnerability and entitlement. Now that entitlement is the deadly sin associated with the solar plexus. It's well, originally I learned about it through Defy Gravity by Caroline Mace, but in my book Words of Grace, I really kind of go in on that a little bit, because the grace that counteracts that is the grace of understanding. So I get it, air signs, when you don't understand what's going on, and it's not just here, Gemini understanding, but it's solar plexus, like what's going on, to call upon the soul power of the athlete here to keep your sense of entitlement. But I'm entitled to, I deserve to know. Well, if you go about this that way, you're not going to like the outcome, even if you get what you want. It's just how it is, the voltage of it. You're coming too much from the pain and the ego and the fear. Instead, rather, what is this saying? Meditate, that's where the answer to your prayer is, to really go behind the castle wall of the soul, to raise up the drawbridge. Because with naivete here, they're saying that your attitude currently on this may not be what you think it is, right? Like here in the card, right? She sees him as an angel, but he got horns and a tail. He had not even a little pussycat tail. That's the little pointy tail, the devil tail. So naivete, you might be seeing through rose-colored glasses, but I also know that when you have a soul connection with somebody, you may be perceiving pieces of their soul, their light, their truth, their angelic nature. Right? She sees them as an angel. Oh, the higher self, right? The guardian angel to me is always the higher self. There's no separation there. Why would a celestial being be following your ass around all the time, trying to get you parking spots, right? It's who we really are. It's the truth of who we are, the spirit, the soul, all of that. So I get that when you feel that and you're like, but I just see so much light. And meanwhile, you know, like neck tattoo. I love men with neck tattoos. I know, bad boys. Ooh, I love me a bad boy. You know, my nickname is Mal. It means bad, just saying, right? I was the archetypal 80s gay bad boy. It was. I grew the fuck out of that, but I'll still take the nickname. So really, first line here, we got the athlete with the answered prayer, meditation, naivete, that the prayer is already heard and the prayer is already answered. And your naivete of that might be getting in the way too. So that whisper of love, saying act as if your partner is there both ways. Like if this really is a thing where you're trying to do the spiritual work here, you're trying to heal yourself. If you'll accept that this is a twin flame relationship, that this is about learning how to love yourself, heal yourself, then this meditation card, even if it's not classical Eastern meditation, that it's focused thought, right? I mean, it's not like this ice fisher woman is running all over the place, right? She's sitting there, she's focusing, she's going deep within herself, but in a mental way. Air signs. Cool, cool. Let's add some clarifiers now. This is the cosmic deck of initiation, blessed just to answer for the angels, right? Instead of cross-decking. They told me not to do this time. I'm like, okay. Maybe next time I will. I don't know. So my angels, please, this answer prayer, this will be a nice card to clarify. Can you please give us from the cosmic deck of initiation for the Gemini collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs in twin flame relationships for September 2019? A card of clarity. A card of clarity, please clarify for this Gemini in the twin flame, this answered prayer. Sower of seeds. Now that to me would be mental seeds. I'll try and hold that up to the camera, right? Can you see that? Sower of seeds. Now I know that has a little bit of a phallic energy to it, and maybe that's in there too, but with answered prayer on top of that, that your prayer seeds, sow your seeds of prayer. Now, here's the thing about prayer. You know, oh, Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes-Benz? My friends all have Porsches. I must make amends, right? Janice. That this is about prayer. This is about saying, you know, let me go in deep here. Let me go in, even though it's the angel card, and know that my prayers are being answered, but that this is not about me getting what I want from the other person. This is not about changing them. Oh, please make them fall in love with me. Make them do whatever I want. No, honey, that's an area of love spells that really, to me, love spells, if not done correctly, are the most dangerous form of magic there is, because they involve the human heart and the human emotions and crimes of passion and all that shit. And believe me, I've done them and I have learned my lesson. So we're talking about really here, a seed of prayer, a seed prayer. May they be blessed. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. May they be blessed. May I be blessed. May this relationship be blessed. May it be the best that it can be, whatever that is. Keep it simple. Cool. We're going to add a card from the dream deck here for the gods. This is a Jungian deck. Words are written on it. You know, by the way, that Taurus read was the last true twin flame read I did for September. I needed a break after that one. My eyes were clouding over. It was the most literal experience of blind spots in a relationship ever. That one nearly killed me. No, I'm kidding, but not really psychically. I was like, I need to do some quickies. So that's why I did the what do I need readings for full moon, new moon to full moon next. So here, I haven't touched these since, so let's have a look. Please, Hermes, the psychopomp in particular, right? Please, one card and clarify, particularly with this card of meditation. You please give us this Gemini collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign and twin flame relationship for September 2019. He's like, I know. One card of clarity. Please clarify this Seven of Blades, what to be meditated upon. The bridge. I thought it said the fridge. Go to the fridge. Chill the fuck out. No, the bridge, as in over troubled waters, I will lay me down. All right, here we go. You know, I have a magnifying glass. I should really get it. Teeny tiny, itty bitty little font. Here we go. The bridge. At certain points, we face a dilemma over whether to make a crucial change. Is it time to look for another job, to move, or to bring an end to an unfulfilling relationship? Womp, womp. Not saying to do it, just reading what's on the card, right? Dreams in which we encounter a bridge provide our subconscious with an opportunity to act out the decision we have to make in our waking life. What sort of bridge did you come to in your dream? Was it sturdy and reliable, or was it made of rope and swaying in the winds? Any clairvoyants watching this, you know I just got Monty Python and the Holy Grail in my third eye. He's having fun with this one. I'm sorry if you're suffering, but Hermes is having fun with me. Did your dream self decide to cross to the other side or turn back? So, you know, here's the thing. The purpose I think behind even integrating these cards in these particular readings is because so much of the internal world is involved in twin flame relationships that if there are symbols coming up in dreams, certainly pay attention to that. But I don't think that's why I'm ultimately using these. I'm using these because it's just going to be obvious. It's like, oh my God, there's a bridge in my life and I have to decide whether or not to cross it. But that to bring that into meditation, perhaps if you're more into the Western path working, visualization, all that stuff, do it, right? Walk across the bridge in a meditation, a contemplation, a visualization, what have you, an internal thing. Nobody needs to know about it. Quantum jumping, look that up. Oh my God, I've totally done that. I'm actually really good at it. I try to do it very clearly, specifically, and not just step into other realms unconsciously. Yeah, look up quantum jumping. Go check a timeline. Go check a probable reality where what you want is playing out. Walk across the bridge. I know that you could walk your ass right back, right? Not a bad idea, right? And a sower of seeds, you do that with a seed of prayer. That could bring you somewhere. Well, to the other side of the bridge and back, and you would be able to have an experience that may be beyond the chatter of the mind. Just saying, oh my God, and what an athletic thing to do, spiritually speaking, right? Particularly with the mind. All right, so now we've got this card of naivete, and to clarify that, I have this Osho Neo Tarot. Perhaps Osho is a little controversial, but I mean, I guess you have to kind of know the story of Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh, and he became Osho. The reason why I've had this deck for well over 20 years, maybe even 30 years. I've had this deck. I've only used it personally for myself. And each deck that I love about it, because I am an eclectic witch, it's got like stories from all over the culture, but they're all pretty much about spiritual masters and you know, receptivity, becoming centered, and there are stories connected to each card that's in this little booklet, right? So I'm going to go first with what I'm getting off the card, the meaning of the card, because the masters, this is a master, not saying master card, we're going to clarify the love pack with one of these. So you feeling me? I'm going to go with that. And if I need to refer to the book, I will, because these are stories. I'm not going to read the whole story. I'm just going to read a little bit at the top of it. Cool. But I'm trusting Hermes, and any of the gods and the masters and the angels will take care of this. So here we go. My masters. They're like, thank you for explaining. I am welcome to. You are welcome to it. Whatever. I'm glad to. My masters, please. An Osho card. A piece of your guidance and grace for this twin flame relationship involving the Gemini collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs for September 2019. Please clarify this card of naivete for them. Oh, single pointedness. Single pointedness. Now this one I know. I mean, the story there I can go into. I can go look it up. Not go into at the moment because I know what single pointedness is. It is akin to, it makes sense for Gemini, instead of being single pointed, right? To bring your mind into focus, to bring all of your soul, all of your power and focus into the present moment. Because look, you know what? I'm going to find out who this is, because, you know, I'm not great at names. But 54, let me just zip through here. Oh, that's page 54. That was cute. That was nice of them to show me that I'm in the flow here. 51, 52, 53, 54. Oh, itty bitty teeny tiny type. The learned has to go to the vital. The learned has to go to the vital. The plastic has to go to the real. Saraha is the founder of Tantra, just as Bodhidharma is the founder of Zen. If I were to count on my fingers 5 benefactors of humanity, Saraha would be one. This is way deeper than I'm doing in this reading right now, and I know this might be out of print, so sorry, but I get that, especially if we're talking Tantra now. I love me some Tantra. Not a day. It ain't sex yoga. A lot of internal work. If you're ready to do some shadow work, do some Tantra, move some stuff, embrace it, alchemize. This is about channeling your energy and your focus, and with naivete, perhaps, because we are also talking about Gemini energy here, which can be very dualistic and should I, shouldn't I, not just the indecision necessarily of a Libra, but if you got Libra in your chart, have a look at that. That this is about really channeling your energy in a single direction, but are you I totally have that upside down, sorry. But are you doing it in a way that is naive? Now, naive is different than innocent. Let's clarify that, all right? The innocence of being in any relationship is being in the here and now. But naive is having this image, there's something projected upon the situation that is not necessarily true, and that you're not really wanting to look at the truth. Naivete is often, I want to be careful with this word, but what I'm hearing is a toxic unwillingness to see what's really there, right? So it's almost like self-deception, but it's like, because perhaps the biochemical high of a twin flame relationship has a hold of you. Could be, right? So to act as if your partner was here then makes sense for this first line of energy, for you to really go within, right? Cross the bridge, talk to in meditation, the soul of this being, I know it sounds perhaps a little unorthodox, but you know, it's better than sending texts at 3 a.m., right? That you are the sower of seeds. To do this with prayer could be very powerful and transformative, not just for you, but for both people in this twin flame relationship. Even though twin flames, you are teaching each other how to transform yourselves. The fire, the heat of the relationship is the crucible itself. Let's get a second line now for the other in this twin flame. That's what I like about doing this. I mean, yes, certainly, if cross-watcher, then this is your line, unless, again, you've got Gemini placements, right? So just go with it. Take what resonates, seriously. And look, if this isn't your reading, it's not your reading. At least you know by that first line whether or not some of this is resonating. But let's look at the second line. This could be you too. Who knows? Maybe it does flip-flop. You know, when you tune into the collective, it's a lot of different people, but a similar theme. It's like theme and variation. So here we go. My pantheon of angels, gods, and masters, please an archetype for the other, for the twin of this twin flame Gemini Sun, Moon, Rising sign for September 2019. What's the archetype here? Ooh, the orphan child. Yikes. Now I have the orphan child. Now the thing about the child archetype, everybody's got the child archetype, and there are different, if you want to call them sub-archetypes or patterns within it. You can have all of them. Child archetype, the orphan archetype in particular, I have taught hours about, because really the majority of our mythical and contemporary, classic and contemporary heroes are orphans. I mean, how far back you want to go, right? I mean, Harry Potter is an immediate one that comes to mind, but then Dorothy Gale and The Wizard of Oz, and just orphan, and really any fucking Disney movie has an orphan in it, right? I mean, just go, well, it's like, where are the moms? Where are the moms? Where are the moms? You know, feminist in me. So we'll get to that. That's a lot. I mean, I can resonate with that, because I do have it, even though I was not literally orphaned. There's a thing there about really not being tribal, right? Of having to find your own way. So the other in this one is really having to find their own way, and very well may have abandonment issues, rejection and abandonment issues. We'll get there. My angels, please. Then now that's why these twin flame readings are different than the Path of True Love readings. Path of True Love readings are about you on your path. This is tricky and transformative. And I'm toying with the idea of doing soulmate relationships. Soulmates are satisfying. You help each other heal. Well, maybe it's like, maybe I'll call them seeking soulmate reading or something, like, where's my soulmate? But you're surrounded by them. We don't always see them, that they're friends and they're people that it's not that passionate, take me away, sweep me off my feet dealio. So my angels, please, let's get a card here for the twin in this relationship with the Gemini Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign. please, a piece of guidance and grace about or for the other. Surrender and release. Now, something's being surrendered and released here doesn't necessarily mean a person, right? Go ahead, try and release each other before the contract is out. Unless abuse and neglect is going on, then you're out. You're done. That, oh my God, best clause ever. Oh, you're abusive to me? And I mean, like, abusive. If you're being abused or neglected here, that cancels the contract, right? You can still try and keep it going, but it's over. I'm not saying that's what's going on here, because what might be surrendered and released is the lead of the child, the orphan child archetype. All right. Hermes, please. One card, a piece of guidance and grace for or about the other in this twin flame relationship with the Gemini collective sun, moon, rising sign, Venus. And you heard me. Here we go. Ooh, the learner. Ooh, good. You like that? I like that because there is a lesson going on, right, for this person. Well, we're all in lessons. Everything's a freaking lesson in quantum hologram schoolroom Earth. I just like recess and art class. I like recess. As a recess kid. Recess pieces. The learner here, by the way, that would be the Eight of Pentacles, right? Got your head down, doing your thing, weaving, you know, the crone showing the maiden how this is how we do it. Yeah, they're saying move on, because there's a lot here that they're learning how to surrender and release. But that for the orphan child, though, that's like hard. That is hard. Surrender and release. Surrender to who? Surrender to what? We'll have a look. My masters, please, then, a card of clarity, a piece of guidance and grace for or about the other in this twin flame relationship with the Gemini collective sun, moon, rising, Venus sign, September 2019. It's lust. It's not the way you move. It's not the way you feel. It's just lust. Deep cut, Joan Jett. Go look for it. Great song. Forget what album. Come on. Sorry, my hair is like getting on my nose. I swear I'm not doing. I don't even drink Coca-Cola. I haven't touched Coke since the 80s. My nose is itching. I know that means something, but at the moment I forgot what. Look, the card of lust there. Now, this card is obviously sexually depicted, right? These guys started looking at, well, watercolor porn, whatever. Get some internet. Actually, these cards probably existed before the internet. So long I've had them, at least certainly in the form it is now. But, you know, I have to say, they're bringing another song to mind. Lust to Love from the Go-Go's was one of my favorite songs as a teenager. That sometimes things start as lust, but then lessons are learned. You know, now all I want is just to love. Lust has turned to love. Because lust, oh right, lust was what we used to call the deadly sin of entitlement. It's solar plexus. Interesting how that came around. Again, entitlement, lust. Interesting, different than greed of the second chakra. That's the bottomless pit. Let's move on. Let's get you. Definitely, we need a whisper of love stat for the other in this in this twin flame relationship with Gemini sun, moon, rising, Venus sign. Please. My pantheon of angels, gods, and masters, one card, a whisper of love, really a piece of guidance and grace for or about the other. This orphan child in surrender and release with a lesson of lust. Please, please, a whisper of love for the other in this Gemini collective sun, moon, rising twin flame relationship for September 2019. Rest and relaxation is essential. We all have a fundamental need to take breaks. So they might be on break. So my darling Gemini, top liner here, if you are being ghosted, they're learning, they're releasing. They may very well be learning how to release. Maybe not releasing you, maybe releasing some of the lead here. So let me read you the orphan archetype. Now I really want you to keep in mind now, like storybook heroes, even like comic book heroes. Come on, Superman is the ultimate orphan archetype, the only one, until Kara came along and then Zod, and suddenly you find out you're not exactly the last son of Krypton, are you? I love Kal-El. I'm Mal-El, like I would totally be House of El. Hope. The light attribute. Independence based on learning to let go, on learning to go it alone, right? Independence based on learning to go it alone. That the orphan archetype doesn't have to check with the tribe, right? They may want the tribe's approval. They may want the tribe to applaud them, but and this is a really, really old way of saying it, but it's one the guides have said to me. It's like, rarely do you get orphan archetypes and like cheerleaders, right? Because like it's so tribal that if you want to change your hair color, you have to like, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Right? Where, you know, purple. Like, you can see, it's like, I never asked my family if it was okay if I was a witch. I just did it, right? Independence based on learning to go it alone, conquering the fear of surviving. The child is a member of the survival family of archetypes. There's only the child, the victim, the saboteur, the prostitute. We all have them. Nations have them. Companies have them. It's anything that survives or has to survive. This is how we learn to do it. So conquering the fear of surviving, right? Learning how to do it on your own, and that's the thing. This could be the breaking of a codependent, lust-based thing for them, even possibly a lust or a sex addiction. Just saying, part of it possibly. It's in the collective there somewhere. Shadow attribute, feelings of abandonment that stifle maturation. Seeking inappropriate surrogate families, right? The odd one out, looking for other oddballs. Now look, I have been in many tribes and covens and things like that, but you know, always have been the odd man out. I know what that feels like, and how that abandonment, in other words, they might be so like locked in, like their soul, like talk about soul retrieval, there's a piece of their soul, not just in their childhood, like itty-bitty childhood, but think about your adolescence, right? Like growing and developing, particularly if it's solar plexus chakra, if the chakras truly develop in 7-year cycles, then we're looking at 14 to 21. Oy, yikes, right? So feelings of abandonment there that stifle maturation, right? That makes sense. So let's clarify this, because with that child archetype, the rest and relaxation that they're pulling back there, they very well may have ghosted you. They may very well may be doing to you what was done to them until they work this out. But believe me, with these lessons going on, we're going to have a look. Let's get a cosmic deck of initiation cards from the angels. My angels, please give us a clue here for the other in this twin flame Gemini collective relationship. What is being surrendered or released here? Oh, laughter. Now here's the thing, surrender and release, that might be the means or the mode of release. Look, I'm all down with laughing when I can in releasing. I've laughed so hard I've cried. I've had what's called the super state, where really joy and sorrow sort of collide and become the same thing. That, look, my guide said to me, I was young too, I was probably like a teenager, and they said if you have the choice to laugh or cry, choose laugh, because there are times where you will not have a choice and you can only cry. And I think there is wisdom there, but you know, the other sadder side of that is they have released their laughter. You know, they have surrendered their laughter, that there's just no, this ain't no joke, and there is some pain going on here. But also, you know, laughter as a defense mechanism is one thing. Laughter at seeing the ridiculousness of the lesson and how we chase our own tails and the paradox of it all. To me, like, as painful as some things have been on the path of true love for me and in twin flame relationships, you know, sometimes when you get the lesson, you're just like, oh my God, that had nothing to do with them whatsoever. I thought it was all about them, and it was really about me, and that's painful at first, but sometimes as you're learning the lesson, you kind of get the ridiculousness of it all, and not that disgusting ridiculous, but how it really is all working out for you. It's happening for you, not to you. That's a big lesson. So I really want to clarify this with one of the dream cards here. Now, Hermes, please, nice and clear, please, for the learner. This child, this orphan child, surrender and release, laughter, either laughing to release or releasing laughter, please. What are they learning here, please? A dream card, a Jungian symbol, something that will speak clearly for or about the other in this Gemini collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs twin flame relationship for September 2019. I hear you cut the deck, and on top, if I can get just the one, the Divine Child. Oh my God, thank you. Drop the fucking card. The Divine Child. Look, I'm going to flip it so that you can see it. Look, it says there, the Divine Child. You freaking kidding me? Well, with Hermes. Right, here we go. The Divine Child, one of the most powerful archetypal symbols. The Divine Child represents perfection, rebirth, and the innocence of primal wisdom. Usually appearing in dreams as a baby or infant, it possesses tremendous transformative power, revealing the path of the true self, the Divine Child. So the orphan child, if it can alchemize its shadow into light, it's led into gold. What is the orphan child but the Divine Child that has forgotten who it is, but had to learn to go it alone, right? Had to learn, had to find its own path. What, you think I was going to be a witch if I was tribal? I was not raised by witches. Although in a way I was, genetically speaking. Skips generations, people. Oh, sorry. The presence of the Divine Child in a dream may be a reminder of your innate spiritual potential that has become obscured by material concerns. Pay attention to the child's words and deeds. Its advice could guide you to greater spiritual fulfillment in the future. So, you know, even the dream stuff aside, that really says that the learner here, they're learning about the Divine Child, which we are all the Divine Child. You know, look, I will paganize this. I could go Course in Miracles, but, you know, we are the hidden children of the gods. But what's it being hidden by? Well, perhaps the lead. Perhaps the lead, which is an insulator for, right? Got to alchemize that, because gold is a very powerful conductor of power, of energy. So the lesson of the Divine Child here, that they're learning that their innate worth they cannot erase. The truth of who we are cannot be touched by this world. Our innocence, the child archetype in general, is about innocence and safety. Right, so with this lust here, a lot of that might come from their wounds of abandonment, being neglected, being walked away from, that they're hungry. So let's clarify that. Now look, what I love about this card lust is there are, as we just saw, there's something sexual tantric going on here. So let's see if we get another tantric story master here. Let's see. 9 masters, this is fascinating. Well, it's Gemini, how could it not be? Please, my masters, a card of clarity for or about the other in this twin flame relationship with the Gemini collective Sun and Rising Venus sign, please. Yeah, I feel there's something holy about this. Mastery of moods. Mastery of moods. Now this one I'm going to read. I'm not familiar with the process, but they're saying read it. Mastery of moods, and that is what? Card number 35. Now look, if you're expecting me to memorize all these stories, not going to happen. Sorry. 35. Whether you are happy or unhappy, remember, this too will pass. This key allows you to become master of your moods instead of their victim. I do not need to go into the story, but if you look, right, one is being showered by arrows, the other by roses, and that ring, that circle on the top. Now that, you know, it's, I could go deeper into what that is, but that's probably a symbol that I should actually go look into the story for before I see what it is. I'm not familiar. Yeah, don't pretend to know shit when you're reading. Go be honest, be honest, be honest. But it's saying whether I've run through rainbows and castles of candy, and I've cried a river of tears from the pain. I've had to dance with what life had to hand me. My partner's been pleasure, my partner's been pain. If you don't know that song, honey, Bon Jovi wrote, sometimes, what is it? Sometimes it's a bitch, sometimes it's a breeze, sometimes love's blind, and sometimes it sees. Sometimes it's roses, and sometimes it's arrows. No, it's weeds. Sometimes it's a bitch. Sometimes it's a breeze. Stevie Nicks sang it, but it was written by John Bon Jovi for her. That song brings tears to my eyes. Don't worry, I'm not going to cry on camera. I'm Leo rising. I'm not going to cry. But that kind of says that what they are learning here, particularly with this, this lust, this hunger, is they're learning how to master it in terms of it not controlling. That they don't have to crash themselves, that the child does not have to be completely obliterated, but instead loved and healed. And to me, the only way to master a mood is to pull back, rest, and love what rises from within, come from that place. But that is a learning curve for every single incarnate soul on earth. Cool, brilliant second line for this child, this orphan archetype here, with the laughter and surrender and release. I really do feel there's a more than 50% of here that's saying that's like, oh my God, I can't believe, oh my God, right? Like that is a brilliant way to heal, means of healing, a release of that stuff, right, what's being released here. But that learner with the divine child, that the divine child is learning, and the orphan is learning that it's the divine child, that it is loved, that we are loved. What is divine? If anything, it's love. It better be, right? In all of its forms, even if it doesn't look like it, right? That the mastery of moods here with lust totally makes sense. And then rest and relaxation is essential. They're taking a break, and they need to, my Geminis. And if this is you, this is really good. Both lines are really, really lovely here. Remember, just because somebody's a twin flame doesn't mean they're evil. Just because they can't give you, they may very much want to give you what you want, but they can't. And it's by contract. And is there a case where a twin flame evolves and becomes a soulmate? Maybe, because if you've noticed, things are radically different now. It's like we are in this new paradigm, this fifth dimensional stuff that's coming in and kicking ass. So let's go to our third line here, my Geminis. By the way, I was told to go as long as necessary for these twin flames, because the twin flames are the ones who really need the guidance and the grace. I mean, I know. Enough of them. I might be in one now. I don't ultimately know. But hang in there. They always say, oh, watch the movie, right? So I'm going to pull the same number of cards for the third line, which is the relationship in and of itself, including the archetype, which is almost like looking, well, it is looking at the relationship symbolically as another person. Like there's you, there's the other, and then there's the relationship, this other entity, right? Sort of the blending of you both, all of the stuff in between you. And that's often not just the means of the healing, but that's how you heal the relationship between the two of you, within yourself, what contributes. But twin flame, you got to heal your end, right? Fulfill your contract. Maybe not complete it, but fulfill that stage of it where you are, right? So we're looking at a month here. So please, my pantheon of angels, gods, and masters, what is the general archetype? They're making me do this different for September 2019. This Gemini collective twin flame relationship, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign. What is the overall archetype of the relationship itself? The lover archetype. Jeez, I love the lover archetype. I have it Kairos. It comes and goes in my chart. Usually backs up the Prince archetype, which is full time. Let's get an angel. My angels, please, one card of clarity, guidance, and grace for this overall, obviously, lover archetype twin flame relationship for the Gemini collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. Just please, there it is. There it is, new love. Okay, new love. You got the lover and new love. Wow. Wowie. Yowie. Wowie. Wow, wow, wow. Holies. Hermes? I'm a little scared. No, I'm not. I'm a little in love. Please, a piece of clarity here, a guidance and grace for the overall relationship here for this Gemini collective. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs, the relationship overall, what a piece of guidance and grace for them. this lovely twin flame couple. Ah, sorrow, sorrow. Now this one, you know, Four of Cups, not usually what you think of as Four of Cups, right? You think of Four of Cups as not the spilled, but the three, and then spirits handing the fourth. But this card of sorrow also, what I like about it, and that's what I love Fiona Morgan, her reinterpretation of this, is because it really is saying rest, 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 go within. Go within. Emotions are moving through you. Surrender to them. But remember, of course, there's always that which is not lost, the new beginning, the new emotion that is hidden behind the sorrow, the love, the eternal that is never spilled, regardless of what might be going on in front of your eyes, what's going on, sorry, this side, behind your eyes. Still not used to this reverse camera thing, but at least I can see the things are spelled out right? Okie dokie, okie dokie, okie dokie, my masters, please. One card overview overall, because we've got that spilled cups of emotion there, and then the card of sorrow, but it's really emotional expression. So the lovers with the new love for this relationship in general with Four of Cups, please, my masters. A piece of guidance and grace here for the overall Gemini collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Twin Flame relationship, Venus signs, Twin Flame relationship for September 2019. I feel you, I feel you, I feel you. Disillusionment. Oh, dear, 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 dear. Yeah, I'm going to get clarifiers on this, but let's get you that whisper. I know I'm speeding through it because I'm feeling this. I'm feeling this, and I want to make sure before I go and get any more interpretation of what's on the table, I want to see what this is. I want all the puzzle pieces. I'm not making assumptions for you guys. I'm for agreements. Time to go, Ruiz. Please, my pantheon of angels, gods, and masters. A whisper of love. This overall relationship, this twin flame relationship for Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs, September 2019, please. This one, a whisper of love here, and just help. This feels intense. Ask for help. No shit. Ask for help. Ask for help. Ask for help. What is it you really need help with? Be willing to allow yourself the support you need. That's what the relationship is about, indeed. And you may try asking each other for help because there's emotional upset and disillusionment, which meant there were illusions in place. And that doesn't necessarily mean deceptions. It might mean that you both had chains of illusion around you. That's what twin flames are for, to break chains of illusion, set all things to right, reveal what has been hidden, bring true love to light. Twin flames are necessary for that. You can burn the chains off, right? Just melt them instead of breaking them. All right, let's get you some clarifiers here. I'm on fire for an air sign. Since we've got this lover card, let me read you this, the light and shadow of the lover here. Light attribute, great passion and devotion, unbridled appreciation of someone or something, and it's that unbridled part that's the key. In other words, unbridled, unchained, but that's the light attribute. That's the light side of it. And now the shadow, obsessive passion that harms others, self-destructive devotion. Yeah. So then with this card of new love here, please, my angels, a clarifier, please, please, please. What is this card of new love about? Because this is the relationship itself. Maybe, yes, indeed, this is a new love, a new relationship. But at the same time, you know, new love can always be about a relationship that's already been in play for a while, but a new sense of love, right? Particularly with the learner here, particularly with the single pointedness. The act as if your partner is here, right? There's a lot of healing. There's a seed, a sower of seed of answered prayer here, surrender and release. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on here. So for this to be brand new all at once, that's what I'm asking, please. My angels, please clarify this new love for this twin flame relationship for Gemini. Duality. A new love with duality. I'm going to bring up a term that I don't particularly like, and that's called a karmic relationship. Depending upon your definition of karma, Because if it's just another punishment and reward system, that's very Western, right? If you're good, you get good. If you're bad, you get bad. Come on. That duality here, that the illusion of separation, the illusion of duality, yes, we are all one, but we are different characters with different characteristics here. But in this new love thing, it's very dualistic in the sense that maybe this is a new love in an old love situation, right? In a twin flame situation, that this might be a renewal, a brand new deal coming on the table, though you may have done it before, either with somebody else or with this person. Let me look. This card of sorrow here. This, I know, not the traditional version of the Four of Cups, again, just to show you, it's like she's crying, but it's really, to me, more about emotional release. Now, if what this relationship is about releasing the emotional baggage, that's what we want. That's certainly what seems to be going on here for the other, right? And that child crying, the emotional release, the emotional baggage. And maybe that's the thing with this new love. It's like the duality of it is that as hard as it is as healing as it is, right? As turbulent as it is, the potential here for individual healing is huge for both of you, but emotional. So Hermes, please, a card of clarity here for the overall twin flame relationship with this Gemini collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign. Please, a dream card. Climbing, like climbing. Here we go. We might expect climbing dreams to indicate success and falling dreams failure, but other interpretations could reach a deeper level of meaning. For Freud, so not so Jungian, climbing dreams represented a longing for sexual fulfillment. Well, he would. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, and you're going to smoke a blessing bud after this one for sure. But they can also reflect aspirations in other areas of life, such as personal or professional growth. How easy or difficult did you find your dream climb? Did you encounter obstacles you could not overcome? If so, should you reassess your current goals and the ways in which you are trying to achieve them? That there's some emotional release and sorrow about, like, overall, like how much has to be overcome, how much you have to keep climbing and striving and reaching for what you want. And how interesting, we've got two characters here, one climbing up, one climbing down. Very twin flame, very, very, very twin flame. So the emotional release here, it's been the emotional part of it, like just trying to get there, trying to hold on and just move a little bit further. I'm not making fun of you, honeys. I know the internal work, the external work, what we go through in these twin flame relationships, just to do our best, just to maintain balance, right? So the overall relationship here, this is about growth, progression, reaching goals, but emotionally, and that there has to be some transformation, some change, some purging here, some emotional exorcism is what I call it. Yeah. All right, so then we got this card of disillusionment, which, of course, as I said before, means an illusion was in place. So this is a disillusioning relationship for this month. But, maybe if you're not seeing each other clearly, that was in here. Oh, yeah, card of naivete, right? It's like, well, maybe, that is for the best. That is for the best then, because maybe what you're projecting onto this person isn't there, but maybe there's a revelation there for you as well in this relationship in general. In other words, what I love about the third line is it's what's happening in the relationship as an entity itself, what's available for the month. I really dig it. So my masters, please, one of these lovely cards of mastery. Definitely more from the east than the west, though. A different way of looking at it, please, since enlightenment and disillusionment are bedfellows, not the same thing. Please, one card of clarity for this Gemini collective twin flame relationship, worry and anxiety. Ooh, look at her. That's pretty Western. I was gonna say, she looks like she's freaking the fuck out. Oh, does she just have a woven reed purse? Oh, cliche. No, Sophia Petrillo, out of my head. I banished thee back from whence he came. All right. I mean, worry and anxiety. I mean, that this speaks for itself, but that maybe the disillusionment is what is that a lot of the worry and anxiety that's going on here is about illusion, right? And as the clouds, as the rain pours, as you release, as the emotions are released in this relationship overall, run by run, rock by rock, that as that is released, as this new love hits both of you, that the worry and anxiety that may be coming up in that emotional release breaks illusions, right? When you cry, clears your eyes. And to ask for help with all of that, really, this third line is quite ingenious. Hey, I don't take credit for what cards come up. I just do the tuning, right? Look, Geminis, you have the strength. You're here to develop that athlete here. And that sower of seeds with the answered prayers. Get your prayers going. Cross the bridge in meditation, right? That focus, get that single pointedness there, that you look past the naivete to see what is really there and act as if your partner is there. Remember that first line stuff we talked about going into meditation, contemplation, and talking with them. You're not trying to mind control them. You're just as if they were in the room. Talk to them. It's very Gestalt therapy, by the way. And for the other in this relationship, the orphan, with that surrendering and release of or through laughter, very powerful form of emotional release. And sometimes you laugh till you cry and you cry till you laugh. But that the lesson here is about the divine child at core and the mastery of moods with lust to kind of keep it in your pants or keep them out of your pants, whatever that is, to really channel that energy, that lust, that entitlement. But I deserve it. I deserve it. I deserve it. I'm not getting what I want, so I deserve it. Just love what rises for the other in here. And if that's what you're dealing with, keep in mind that rest and relaxation is essential for them right now to give it a rest, that they need a rest. And if they have ghosted you and disappeared, that's kind of why. But overall here, when the relationship itself, it's developing the lover, right? Unbridled appreciation, but now it's about appreciating. It's about appreciating the relationship in general, what it's giving you, that it's happening for you. And that then you can channel your passion and devotion for the true purpose of a twin flame relationship, which is to love yourself and to be a blessing on the other person simply by loving, respecting, because when you're loving yourself and healing yourself and respecting yourself and resetting your boundaries and love, as I love my heart, all hearts are loved. Try that prayer. Keep that one going for a hot minute. And you're healing all of life. And honestly, the twin flames, they feel like they're the alchemical furnaces and crucibles of the transformation of the emotional field, the quantum of all of life, not just humanity. It just feels that way. This feels like a contribution to that on a bigger level. So look, this is a complex one, but hey, you're Geminis, you're not exactly simple signs. You're dualistic. Oh my God, duality, the new love duality, you're Geminis. Duh. You know, that's the thing about, like, I could stare at this another hour and give you a whole other hour, but as it is, this reading's gone really, really long, but I will do this for you. I'll say to you, ask for help. Ask for help. Look, I do readings. I've read couples before. Doesn't matter where you are. You got a camera, you got a phone. We can do this over the phone. We can do it just like this. It's how I do readings with people all the time because I work out of my house. I will travel, you know, but I don't know that I want an external office right now. I thought I did. I don't. I like this. But by all means, ask for help. And if you want to reach out to me and say, well, who should I ask for help from if not you? You know, that will certainly. There's all sorts of modalities, healers, teachers, therapies, etc. But Gemini, if you are that athlete there, get to prayer, right? I'm going to try and get this one out before new moon at least. Do your new moon stuff. Cool. It's in Virgo too. Virgo 6th house, health and occupation. So May, the Gemini collective. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs in twin flame relationships be blessed with all that they need for September 2019, that they may learn, that they may heal, that they may grow, that they may become the best that they can be and fulfill their role in the divine plan. And on the path of true love, heal themselves, love themselves, respect themselves, give themselves what they need. And in that, break another chain of illusion for all of life. So mote it be. Wish you the best. Please like and subscribe. Please reach out if necessary. And by all means, hail. Farewell, my Geminis, my twins. And blessed, blessed, blessed be.